Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started here, and basically we're gonna do my streams a little bit of a different format here moving forward. We did create that new channel in the Discord where I'll post the assets that we're tracking on a higher time frame and medium time frame perspective. And any assets that you want me to track, you can just request them in our discussion, Elliott Wave discussion channel, and I'll post them in the Elliott Wave count channel so we keep track of them. And then these streams will be more focused on like the local count, like the local time frame counts, and kind of diving into that and looking for some possible trade setups. And then we'll also add a weekly poll, maybe bi-weekly. I think weekly. I think that I don't think it'd be too much. We'll think about it. But we're gonna add a poll, like a Discord poll bot, where you guys can kind of request the assets that I go over. We're gonna go ahead and stick with doing Bitcoin, ETH, and S&P. We'll stick to those no matter what. And then we'll have a top three requested. So moving forward, we'll still continue to look at these assets right here: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and S&P. And then I'll do that poll bot where everyone can kind of just vote on what they want to be reviewed, and the top three that are requested, we'll go over those. But for this stream, let's go ahead and start with Bitcoin. We've been aware of two scenarios here, basically. We're looking at this essentially as a completed WXY for a wave two, either of a minute degree or a minuet degree. We don't know yet. We'll know once it starts extending down in time. But for right now, we've got this as a W, X into Y. And the reason why is because we have a three-way move right here, A, B, C for W. Then we have a W, X, Y, another three-way move for an X, and then an A, B, C for a Y. And to be honest, this was a beautiful ABC right here. I mean, it was pretty much just textbook, any way you look at it, from channeling to fibs to time. It was pretty much almost textbook. So this structure being ended right here is a very high possibility. It pretty much ended right in our target zone right here, this little sweet spot right here. With this is pretty much the max and minimum range that we look for the move to end this red barrier. This is the max minimum time frame. This yellow barrier is more like the average time frame of completion. Like this is where we usually look for the typical move to end around here. And then this sweet spot right here is our actual target zone, our sniper zone, would you say? So we would basically look for channeling, fibs, targets, anything up there that would help us determine where the end of the move would be. And we could basically, even just from a pure alleyway perspective, without even getting fancy with any kind of market methodologies like TPO or auction market theory or smart money concepts, we could literally just look at it with just Elliott wave theory and what we normally expect from a zigzag. Pretty much ping that 1382. We look for at least the 1236, then 1382, then the 1618. But we literally hit this sweet spot right here, right on there. It was perfect, textbook. So at this point, we're still kind of correcting as it is, but it it's valid the way we're correcting because we're seeing this as a 1212 right here. Although it is building up, and like I said, it is just kind of correcting and such. This is still a 1. Then we got expanding flat 2 because this is still very valid as well. This B wave hit right to the 1236, 1272 for the B wave of a flat. So therefore, it makes it either expanded or running. But once it broke upon the termination of the A wave, it became an expanded flat, and it also hit those targets fairly well. Hit right to the 1236, 1272 back to back. Perfect expanded flat. Now we have an impulse down, and we're looking at this as a zigzag for a 2 right here. We're looking at this to end, and honestly, it's got a tight invalidation point. It does look very valid in terms of structure wise, but it's been very deep. It's a very deep two, which makes me a little bit concerned, but it's still a valid trade. It's still a great trade to look for because of all this wave degree confluence that we have here. And we do even have some divergences as well. We've got the creating higher highs, and this is starting to create lower lows right here. So this is still a great trade to take right here. This is pretty much what we're looking for. We're looking at this as this whole correction is finally done. This whole thing is finally done right here. And now we're just going to come pumping down right here. The alternative is I'm going to go ahead and mute you. Okay, you already did it yourself. Thank you. The alternative is we're looking at this as a ending diagonal. I don't really like this too much because we this is a very extended leg. We already had an extended leg right here. Usually when we have extended legs, it's usually the B wave or it's the X wave essentially. But this is we really don't want to see two back-to-back extended waves like this. This is already getting way too extended. So personally, I'm more in favor of this being completed, where that was the A right here, this was the B, and this was the C that we were just looking at. That's my primary, but this is still valid because once again, we always talk about validity. As long as it's valid, we're gonna we're gonna monitor it. Then we look at probability, like based off of where we are right now, what's more probable, and then we look at the right look. So this is valid. It's still probable, but it doesn't have the right look because of how long this leg is taking to extend. Still valid, so we're not going to count it out. But this is just taking so long right now in comparison to this partner leg, the A leg, because this is supposed to be a partner leg for this leg right here. So this leg is supposed to be a partner leg for this one. It doesn't look like a partner leg if it's going to continue to come down and keep coming up like this. We do have a invalidation point right here. And even though I can say it's invalidation point, the reason why I say this is because typically we don't really see expanding diagonals. I don't think I think it's possible, but we don't really see it too often. And although it can happen, I just wouldn't really, like I said, this would take so long in time. Again, it'll be even longer in time. That's why I'm against it. That's why I have this as the invalidation point right here, because I would consider this to only be an ending diagonal. I don't think it could be an expanding diagonal. The expanding diagonal doesn't have the right look at all. So this is pretty much what we want right here because we have a one, two, three, four, five for a one. One, two, three, four, five for an A, B, C for a B, and then a one, two, three, four, five for a C. It's another textbook zigzag right here. And even if we threw channeling on it, we might even be able to get some type of, well, it's not too perfect, but that still would have been a great trade to take if you were monitoring in real time. If at least you saw this as a clear impulse down and you're watching it in real time. Once again, it's just the same concern though. We've got a pretty tight invalidation point, but it's still a very valid probable trade to take in my opinion. Even if you want to treat it as a scalp, like we just come down to this point right here for the 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 diagonal. I really, once again, am putting my stamp on it that this is the end of the move right here and that we are moving down. I am worried that we are, once again, like I said, ranging right here, but it all makes sense the way we have it. The expanded flat right here into an impulse down into a zigzag. But we truly need to start seeing some acceleration down here at this point. Ethereum is almost of the same caliber. Let's see. Right here, same thing, pretty much where we had a W, it's an X, into Y. Same thing as Bitcoin. We just have Ethereum in a lower degree than Bitcoin. And it can be the same case in Bitcoin, like we were just talking about how Bitcoin can also just be a minuet 2 right here. It's more probable that it's a minute, and we may have to look at all alternative for Ethereum, where this is the 2 right here, the minute, because of how long this is taken. So let's take a look at this. It's November 9th all the way to November 30th. So about 20 days, 21 days. I usually say how mini waves, their average time is about 2 weeks, sometimes to three. The maximum is a month. So if this does at all come back up, it's going to be just one more push personally. And it does align what we have to with our diagonal for Bitcoin. And we also can take a look at a diagonal here for Ethereum. But truthfully, that's a sweet spot for a minute wave is usually 3 weeks to a month. So we're basically at that point where we're about to either end the move or overlap into minute territory and end the move with one more push up. We can make an argument for both of them. That's the move isn't done here. So we'd actually have to change this into an ABC because the way we're looking at this is the same on Bitcoin. It's either WXY, where it's a 3-3-3 move, or it's a ABC, where it's a 3-3-5 move. So 3-3, then 1-2-3-4-5, where it's a flat. Same thing on that we looked at I mean Ethereum a while ago. Our argument, the move really isn't clear until we break this barrier, this range that we're in. We know if we come up here, it's gonna be one more push up, and then we start coming back down. But if we once we do break this right here, I think it's almost certain that we're gonna start impulsing down. It's almost complete validation for me. Ethereum does look a little bit cleaner though. It truly does. Even structure wise and on its impulse down, it looks more like it's impulsing down. This looks like a better 1-2-1-2 that we would want to see right here. Usually with the 1-2-1-2, they typically have like the same strength when it comes to the same strength and time. So this one wasn't the same strength, but it was necessarily in time. It's just they're very similar. So it's a very good looking 1-2-1-2. If we were looking for the move down like we are on Bitcoin, then it looks a lot more cleaner. Sometimes Ethereum is our leading indicator sometimes when it comes to these moves too. Either be a move to the upside or move to the downside. And on Ethereum, it did complete almost that perfect zigzag channel for an ABC for this too. And this is actually this looks good right here because we've got a 1-2-3-4-5 ABC. You could look at this as a diagonal right here. So 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a completed zigzag right there. 5, 3, 5. Right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into an A wave. A, B, C into a B wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a C wave. So even if you it's hard looking for just straight swing setups, as long as you can recognize a 5 impulse, you can almost certainly always expect a 3 wave back unless it's at the end of the move. So here's pretty much a good tip. If it's ranging, like if it's stuck in a range, it's almost always safe to take a trade after a 5 wave impulse because there's always going to be a 3 wave. But if it's making a new high or a new lower low, like let's say this was 1, 2, and it's coming down for a 3 into 4, and then it comes down for a 5. At this point, it's not really safe to trade it because if it is impulsing down and making like a new lower low, like let's say we're coming down here into this territory, the reason why it's not safe to expect a 3 wave move is because you could once this is the end of the move, like let's say it's a C or it's a Y or it's a Z wave, what have you not, we're going to expect another impulse out of here. So I guess you can still take it because even if you expect it, we do have that way directional confluence that we talk about in the other portion of our Elliott-wave cheat sheet, where even this could be a 1, this could still be an A, this could be a C or a B into a C or a 3. So you can still take the trade, but you're at this point at the lower lows, you're more prepared for this move as opposed to when you're in the range, you're more expecting this move. So that's kind of the thing is when you're in a range, you can trade these all day, every day. But when you're making a new lower low or a higher high from like a medium or long term or high time frame perspective, you're going to expect the impulse out of there. So even though you are going to expect a move up like this, it could be an ABC. You really want to start looking for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you look at it as this way, you'll be more better prepared to trade it instead of just expecting an ABC like this. But regardless, this looks a lot cleaner than Bitcoin. It looks like it's completed its move up and it's impulsing down here. We really want to just start seeing it come down. And then let's see, around like the 13th, we're expecting some type of economic news to bring some breath and volatility back to this market again. It's been a little bit tame compared to the indices, but pretty much right here, it falls perfect in line with what we're expecting to. Like it's almost textbook right now at this point because we're expecting that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for this micro one, and then we just get an A, B, C, and then boop, just kaput down to here, you know. But I'll tell you what, sometimes our expectations of how the market interprets the economic news is unrealistic. I swear, the way that people are interpreting Powell's words have kind of just been unreal. I'm not sure if they're even listening to what he's saying, but we may not be able to count on people interpreting this like they should. So just be careful around this time right here. We are expecting some type of reversal down this way, but it really could do anything, you know. So for S&P, let's take a look at the S&P. A, B, C, W5, B. Let's get away the lower time frame count. Let's make this a little bit cleaner. There we go. Okay, here we go. So there's two ways that we're looking at this. It's kind of a moot conversation because it's the same thing. It's just it's better explained with an WXY. But regardless, this is a three-wave move. We can say it's W, and we can say it's an X right here, and we can say a Y because it does explain it a little bit better. But really, it's a moot conversation because right now we're looking at this as a three-wave move, and we do expect this to start coming down. This right here could just be a 1 2 1 2, and it's having the same kind of similarities that we were talking about earlier with the 1 2 1 2. They're kind of the same in time and length and structure, and this is a perfect running flat right here as well. So if we do take it down to the lower time frame, the local time frame, and we can even look at the SPX as well to look at the. Okay, so A, B, C for an A wave, A, B, C for B wave, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a good looking running flat right here. The only issue is that it just depends. Let me take a look at this really quick, see if I can make this a valid argument or not. I think it's a little too extended up there to even call this an X wave. If it broke the 1382, I don't think I can call this an X wave. Let's see. Yeah, yeah. So I'd have to say this does look like it's completed. I don't think we could call this like its own A, B, C into a W, and then that was an X quick breaker structure. Like we usually talk about how X's kind of do that. It's a little too impulsive for that, and it went past our invalidation point for an X. It really went above that 1382, which I don't like seeing for an X wave. So I think this is a completed structure right here. I think this is done unless we're going to have an extended fifth wave, which I don't think is likely. It's possible, but it's not very probable. What I mean by extended fifth wave is that this could just be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't think it's very probable, truthfully. And this does look very good as an ending structure for a wave 5. It's kind of similar in strength to our wave 1 as well. So let's see, our wave 1 pretty much had this strength right here. And if we compare it to our wave 5, it's almost identical, almost a 1 to 1 right there for wave 1 to wave 5. Literally identical, actually. Maybe a little bit quicker than our 1, but almost exactly in strength. So that's a very strong case for this move right here being completed right now. Whether it's a three-way move as something else, like an A, B, C, and this was a W, that's a different case. But I don't really think I've seen that. I can't see it. I've looked for it. I don't think I can. I really think that this would be the end of the move up here. And if it's not a 1 2 1 2 as we're looking at right now, right here, then we do have an alternative what we can take a look at. And it did do a pretty deep 1 2, the 886 and 854. That is true. But once again, they look very similar in structure and time and strength. They really do. So we're gonna want to start seeing a move down here. It's kind of the same thing that we're expecting with Bitcoin as well. We want to see Bitcoin and Ethereum start making a push down here. But if we don't, and we see that other push up from Bitcoin and Ethereum, we can maybe look at our alternative here. Get rid of this because we don't need it anymore. There we go. So we're in a 1 2 1 2 of a different caliber in a different direction. One, two, one, two, three, four, three, four, five to complete this X. We can also look at this a different way too. We can interpret it a different way if we wanted to. If we were bullish, we could say that this was the W, that was the X, that was the Y, that was another X, and that was a Z. And this was done. This is the end of the move right here, basically. Full blast, rockets up to the moon. I just it doesn't make sense with what we're expecting with like I said, the economy wise, but we are aware of that. There is a case that we could argue it, and it just depends on this forming. If this forms, we'll actually probably have to update this to our main, and then update our alternative to this being the move done right here. And we are in a 1-2-1-2 impulsing up for a new leg in the bull market. Just depends. We don't really have clear direction yet. And this move right here, we might be able to chalk this up to being a W into an X, and then it comes down for a Y. Because I do want to at least see it break some type of structure to have it have that 1-2-1-2 look. We really do at least want to even come tap this area for a 1-2-1-2. That's why we're looking for this right here. But it already looks like it's too corrective. Like if we wanted to see that, it would really have to come down more like this first. But it's been a very shallow correction up here. So meaning this is might be just a W, X, Y, where it just ends right here, or that might have been it right there. And I think that's very highly unlikely. So even if we do get a move down, any kind of move, I do think we're still going to move down. Depending how far we move down, either this or we start impulsing down, like in our main scenario. It's not very clear yet. I think it's more probable that we are in our main count, and that's why we have it, because it's more probable, but we need some confirmation. And true confirmation on this one would really be breaking this lower low that we made right here. Ultimate confirmation obviously is breaking this low right here. I'm gonna go ahead and stop right there real quick, see if anybody does have any questions on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and SP, and then we'll go on to the requested assets here. Oh, I'm sorry, Pi. Yeah, I should have done that a long time ago. I'm so sorry. Let me see if I can do it now. Maybe someone did start it. On ETH, I was wondering, the zigzag you showed has a B wave missed a 0.618 retracement. How strict are you with those measurements? Still valid? Let me take a look. Let's go back to it. Assuming you're talking about this B number one or this B number two. We did talk about two zigzags here. Which one do you talk about? One or two? Two? Okay. Take a look. When it comes to the smaller degrees, I'm not too strict on it. Like I said, as long as we have a complete valid structure, which we did, 5, 3, 5, you're taking it at least a three. And this was a very clean A, B, C. But even if we do pull a fib, I mean, yeah, it pretty much did front run that 0.618. But as long as it kind of built that base around the point 0.5 right here, that's still valid to me. It would have sucked because, yeah, you probably would have expected it to hit the 618 and had the order right there. But That's the thing. It's the same thing with wave twos. We know it's 100% chance that they'll pretty much hit the 382. I mean, it's like a 120% chance that you get to 236. We don't even look at the 236 anymore on wave B or wave two because it's just ultimate. It's just gonna happen. Same with the 146 with the wave four. Like we know it's gonna happen. It's automatic. This is a great scalp target to take. That's why we have these and we're aware of them, but looking for the end of the move, yeah, I'm right there with you. You probably would have waited for it to hit that 618 and then had your order in and then have it right here in the 786 at least for a stop. But when it comes to wave fives and waves two, I mean, wave Bs and wave twos, you really at least want to have it the point 0.5 and the 0.786. This is where it's going to hit 75% of the time is 786 and the point 0.5. But I'm right there with you. I usually honestly put mine at the 618 because crypto does do deeper retracements, like almost more often than not. And this may be even an opportunity for some people to try to learn how to build a position too, or do partial orders instead of just putting everything right there in the 618, where people can start doing the point 0.5, the 0.618, and if anything, the 0.786. And then you can have a hard invalidation at the 886 or the 854. It's just nothing's certain, right? Sometimes things work perfectly and it just hits it right away. And sometimes even you might not even get your order filled completely. So even sometimes maybe the conservative wave is better to go. Just depends. I think it's kind of as long as you're aware of the target zone, we should be kind of at least happy with it. But yeah, it's just shitty getting front run for sure. So the top, actually, let me see. That's funny. I have a time for a pivot to be on near December 12th. Yep. Yeah, Steve's got it right there. Steve pretty much brought it up. That's what we're waiting for right there is the CPI, FOMC statement, the federal funds rate that Powell's going to set. That's what pretty much we're waiting for right there. So the top three requested assets, there wasn't really three that kind of all everybody kind of jumped together on. There was two, so we'll go over those two, and then I'll kind of leave it up for the group today on if they have like a asset they want me to take a look at for a third one. But the number one requested, I think, was gold. So we'll take a look at gold, and I have posted the accounts here that we're looking at in the elliott-wave channel. And then we'll take a look at Chainlink because that was the other requested one was gold and Chainlink. So we got two counts here on gold essentially. I am a little bullish right here that we have a 1-2-1-2 setup basically. There's different ways you can look at this and we will in just a moment, but for right now, we're just going to do a higher time frame overview because we haven't done this yet. And then in the later streams when we do monitor gold, we'll focus more on the lower time frame action. But since we haven't done a higher over time frame view, we're going to do this real quick. So at this time right now, I actually have it in a super cycle 1, super cycle 2, into a cycle 1, and a cycle 2. This is a bullish setup, but very valid. It has a lot of implications because it means we're going to have a pretty good push up, might even up to about 10K or so. I'm not even worried about the targets yet. We're going to worry about ending the structure before we even bother with this. This is just kind of speculation at this point because price discovery is just pure pure speculation, to be honest. But what we do notice is we can see this as a clear structure, which is a 1-2-1-2. The other argument is it's just an impulse, where this is still our super cycle 1. This is still our super cycle 2. This is actually our super cycle 3. And we're working on a super cycle 4 right now. The reason why I'm not too fond of this is because let's see, it's August 2011, and let's say just to 26, about 15 years. I'd expect a little bit more out of that for a super cycle degree. It's 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 not it's not too bad, to be honest. I don't know how other way to put it. It's still valid because when we talk about cycle degrees, at least cycle degrees by themselves are going to take about 10 years. So this is 15. Like I said, this is about 11, so it's almost about 4 to 5 years. So it's about half of a cycle. Let's see, this is 15 to 20, another 5 years. And then if we get another 5 years right here, there's even a chance that, truthfully, this could just be a W, X, and then a Y. That is very probable. If that happens, I think I would probably switch this over to my main because it would make a lot more sense. Because usually we don't want this cycle two, because on our main count we're looking at this as a cycle two, but we don't want the cycle two to exceed the correction time of this super cycle two because it doesn't make sense, especially on this great of scale of cycles when we're talking about super cycles and cycles. So I would have to update the main count to this as my primary, and I can actually see this more now that we're talking about this, where we just kind of range. And like I said, this is kind of just pure speculation at this point. The only thing that we can do at this point is just have clear levels, monitor them, and look for clear reactions and just trade off of it. Now, lower time frame, I guess we can start right here actually. There's basically two ways we're looking at this. So if we were looking at our main count, like I said, we're in a 1-2-1-2, where we finished the second one right here, and we are working on the second two. But right here, we have our A into B into a C. For the primary A, the cycle two, the second two that we're working on. Then we have A, B, C for the B wave of the cycle two. And now we're looking at an impulse down for primary three of cycle two. So essentially, we're looking at this as a flat pattern, a 3-3-5, where this is a expanded flat or a running flat. It could be either or because it did breach the high of this right here. And since it went above that high, this could either be expanded or running. It's more likely it's expanded because that's the more likely pattern over the running flat. But given how many running flats we've seen the past few months and the past half year, I wouldn't be surprised if this turned into a running flat or even a ending diagonal running flat. I mean, nothing honestly would surprise me anymore after what we've seen. Within this setup right here, got an expanding diagonal one, A, B, C, a zigzag for a two, and for zigzag, a B can be any structure it wants to. It could even be a W, X, Y, Z. But in this case, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulse A, triangle zigzag or triangle B, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulse for a C of a two. At this point right now, I'm seeing this more as a extended fifth wave personally, or this is a 1, 2, 3, 4 extended fifth wave, and this is a B, C, a nice regular flat, almost textbook. It did kind of front run the point 0.5. It would have been nice if this zero point 0.5, this 1.618 kind of stacked on top each other, I would be more confident in this move be ending right here, but it still kind of could push up. When it's stuck in no man's land, just like how Pi was talking about earlier, the only thing we should be aware of that it means maybe the move isn't done. So could still be done right here because it did almost hit that 1.618, but I could see it still coming up a little bit more. Alternatively, we could say this move is pretty much done if we wanted to, where this was A, B, C of a primary four, and now we're going to come back up right here to finish the primary five of cycle one. Or it could even be the end of our alternative of these super cycle five. That could be potential too, but then we would want to see this last at least 30, 25 years, which is asking a lot. But at this point, I think right now we're gonna play it with structure wise by fitting puzzles within puzzles. And that's the thing. This is a tricky thing is when you're looking at long-term time frame assets like this, even S&P, it's difficult really gauging where it'll go within the next few years because China is just pure speculation, but it's really just fitting a puzzle within a puzzle. But I could see this where this was a WXY for an A wave. Here's the same zigzag for the B wave. And then we could say that this was done. It was an extended fifth, but it finished the move right here. And we just completed a leading diagonal one. So regardless, we do have some wave degree confluence here, where on our other counts, we're looking at this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But in this count, we're looking at it as an A, B, C. So once we get that pivot down and you get this reaction right here, if you missed out right here, but you recognize that we are in an A or this is a 1, and right when you get that second reaction right there, there right here, this is a great trade to take. Because once again, this is either a 1 or an A. And at this point, this will either be a B or 2. I think it's more likely, and that's why we usually have these as our main. It's more likely that we are still coming down here personally, truthfully, and it makes more sense than what we're expecting based off of the economic perspective that we're taking consideration here. So I think it's more likely that we're in this count, and that's why it's our main. Pretty much bounce right off this weekly order block. But other than that, I'm really just looking for this to bounce off this channel that's been creating for good market structure and for a almost textbook expanded flat pattern. This is a pretty significant drop though. We were waiting for this reaction, the 1600, but this is a pretty big drop that we're expecting. I'm not sure. I think at this point we might have to expect a running flat because that is a lot asking for a 40% drop. That is a significant drop, especially on gold. Either that or we look at the alternative that the move was completed as a three-wave move. An A, B, C. We'll look at chain link here. Where's chain link? Where are you? There you are. Let's see. So we have the move finishing up here at about $54. And there's really no other way to see this correction, in my opinion. Truthfully, I think this is the only way I can see this is a W, X, Y, X into a Z, depending upon how this Z wave forms. It's just really dependent upon, I guess, the altcoin markets, how well they take the beating to the downside. This is the aggressive outlook that we only completed the one to the downside, where this was a leading diagonal for one, and we completed a two. More conservative approach is that we completed an A into B into C. This has more of the right look for a WYXZ because truthfully, Z's will not extend past the 1382 for their move. 1618 for me is ultimate validation, even for altcoins. So if it does come down right here, we might have to look at it as such, where this was a three, triangle four, one, two, three, four, five for an A wave, just like how we're on Bitcoin and other assets, where we could still just only be completing the first part of three-part correction. We're only a third of the way done with it. So truthfully, I think it's unlikely we will see this aggressive a move down for our main counts. And if we do, like I said, I'll probably switch over to our alternative, to be truthfully honest. On a lower time frame here, like I said, we have that leading diagonal to a one. We had a really good zigzag looking structure for a two, and now we're looking for this to start moving down. And it might even be more ahead of the game than what we're expecting for our other coins. This already looks like it's in a one. That was a two. That was a three. This is a four. It's about to go into a five. So this one looks like it's more ahead of the game than the other ones. So let's build this out right here real quick. One, two, one, two, three. This might be more of a leading indicator than Ethereum at this point. A, B. You have some great divergence here as well. Just consistently making higher highs. You're just consistently just making lower lows here on RSI. That would have been that's kind of the downside though, with sometimes with divergence. Literally just think right here, okay, that's it, that was it. And then it comes up again. and then you're like, okay, that was it. That was the divergence. That was the end of the move. And then it comes up again. And then you're like, okay, that was it. That was the end of the move. Then it comes up one more time. That's the tricky thing about divergence. Especially even this is on the hourly, so you can't really chalk this up just to being lower time frame. So sometimes we have to be careful of that. And this is a clear case of that, where divergence wouldn't have really helped you too much, where we really do kind of look for divergence in most of our moves for the ending move. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what it looks like potentially here. Let's drop it down just a little bit to the 15. Let's get rid of the RSI. We got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wondering if this looks like a WXY, and it does. So this looks like a W. Here's the X. Here's a Y. And I like this WXY right here because it kind of validates two things that I reiterate a lot about WXYs. One is this is so we have our W right here, which is A, B, C, which a W is a three-way move, always an A, B, C. Quick break a structure an X, and that's what we get for a um, combos. That's characteristic of combos, right? When we see that, that's a quick break of structure. It's a characteristic of a WXY. Say it all the time. We want to see that either a very long X or a very quick short X. It's either one or the other. And then usually when the X wave breaks the origin of this W wave right here, the Y wave will almost always fail to break the termination of the W wave. Now, like I say other times as well, if the WXY, where it's a W and the X doesn't break it, it's almost certain that it will break the termination of W. That's the thing, nothing's certain here, but we have expectations and we have guidelines and we have rules to kind of help us be aware of the next step and be ahead of the game. No one can ever tell you exactly where price is going to be exactly the right time, the right moment. I mean, they might be coincidence and luck, but we can only be really prepared and only interpret data as best we can. But given all of these observations that we've had over count or at least countless years for myself and just Elliott wave in general, this is why it helps us. It helps us be aware of this kind of stuff and kind of helps validates our counts in a way. And I like this. It's a perfect example because it just reiterates sometimes what I talk about. So 1, 2 looks very impulsive for a 3. I like that. Pretty much hit the 2 spot on. That's good. It's a nice impulse. We got a 1, 2. 3, 4. Looks like an extended fifth wave. And I'm fine with this because the third wave is longer than the first wave. So this wave It's longer than this wave. That's all that really matters at this point when it comes to an impulse within the third wave. One, two, three, four. One, two, one, two, three, four, three, four, five. This looks more. They actually look like expanded flat. I was gonna say it could look like a WXY, but it does look like a expanded flat right here. It looks more like an expanded flat, really. One, two, three, four, five, three, three, four. Let's put a fib on this. Let's see how far this four has come up. It looks like it's came up to the point 0.5 already, or the 0.382. Yeah, almost there. Might even have a little bit more push up. This might be an ending diagonal right here for it. Ending diagonal C. So A, B, C. And once again, whenever you're dealing with corrections, just keep in mind, sometimes it's better to think in threes instead of just expecting that impulse down. This could just be a W, then you get an X, and then you get a Y. So sometimes it is best just to think in threes when you're in corrections and just trade off of threes and be conservative with them. Don't expect an extended C wave or anything like that. But let's take a look here. This does look like it's almost completing its move. It pretty much did it right on its time, the target zone. So if even if we wanted to, we could even say this was a ending diagonal as such, like this, because it really hit our sweet spot that we look for. If we were monitoring this in real time and looking for a trade, usually we have our target zone. We put our box there, and we look for at least a target zone. Pull our fibs. This this one kind of did not hit our targets though, so maybe it does have one more push up. There's potential in that. It would look a little bit more cleaner. It would have more of the right look personally for a diagonal here. It would complement this leg a little bit more too, because this does look like a weak C leg. So I would actually expect it to probably pop up just a little bit more. Even to the 113 right here, if need be. It's just a blue? Are we looking at a blue? No, we're looking at a teal. This actually looks like a WXY right here. WXY. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the A. WXY, B. Let's clean this up, make it easier to see. Turn that blue. Like I said, that 146 is usually always a guarantee, and usually it pings it right away, and it's usually the one. So look how right here, it just pinged it right away. Ultimate scalp, literally. But you have to be absolutely on point with this reaction. That's the only thing. That's the only downside to that. Get rid of this. Get rid of that. Get rid of this. Now it looks a little bit more cleaner. Even looks like it's potentially channeling right now too. So we could even use guideline of channeling right here. Take a look at this. It's not channeling too well. Yeah, no. It's kind of broke outside that channel. But regardless, this looks good for a move down. There's really no other way I can kind of, I guess, interpret this. Like if we, I mean, let's see. There'd be an A, B, C, and then might be just a W where this is actually an A into a B into a C for an X. Then we come up for a Y wave. That's the only way I can see it. But then again, we still have some good trades to look for. We still have some good directional confluence because we might have to upgrade that degree. We might have to upgrade this to a sub-minuet, which I mean, upgrade it by one. But regardless, we still have a great trade to take because even if this is the start of an impulse down, where it's a one into a two, it's the same argument we talk about all the time. This could just be A or B. So still good trade setups to look for here. Once we get this pushed down, but while I'm wrapping up here with Chainlink, if anybody does have at least another asset they want me to take a look at really quick, I'll definitely do that because I only did three. But it's only because I couldn't really see another one where people were really like, yeah, I want to see this one, where they at least all came together into agreement. Also, I'm working on completing those Fib timesheets. It's just I think I might just make them easy and straightforward because it's I just need to kind of maybe I'm not sure with the format of them because I want to at least show like where to pull from, and there's really not that much information I need to give. It's just working on the format and making it look clean for you guys. I'll have our boy Ziff. He'll clean it up nice for us, but I just need to get to work on the formats and how I want to present it. Because I mean, I've got really I should just have it clear, like show how to do it for the certain waves. Because I do want to do, motive waves, impulse waves, wave five, wave four, wave Bs, wave Ys. I want to do majority of them, even wave twos if I can. Wave twos are very tricky, but it's just a matter of presenting them. I'm not sure if I just want to, make it super easy to read and just give it to you guys like this, or whatnot. But I think I'm just gonna make it clear and simple and just kind of release it just to give something to you guys, so you guys at least have the information. I think that's more important. At least is just having the information, and then you guys can. Then we can kind of play with it and make it more professional looking, just like how I did with my other cheat sheets, just like how I did with these ones. How we just made them I had a just a bare set, the basic set, and then we had our boy kind of pretty him up for us, make him look professional. So I think I might do that. Then we'll worry on the actual details of it later after we get it released. But yeah, on Chainlink, I can definitely see this right here. Let me see if anybody has any suggestions I can take a look at here. Got the exact same count, primary four. What's that for which asset? DXY. Yeah, we've tried to look at that in the past. It's not really an asset that we can truly confidently track from an Elliott-wave perspective if we're being loose with the rules. But I think if anything, anybody should know about me is that I'm just a purist by heart. I'm an elliott-wave purist. I stick strict to the rules. And that's the only way we can be ahead of the market as much as we can is because, like I said, if we're getting loosey goosey with these rules, you would have you could basically finagle anything into what you want. Like I can honestly finagle any counts until I want it to, and that's dangerous because we want price action to kind of tell us what it wants. But yeah, DXY is just one I would have to finagle into account. It's not one I can really confidently say. It has alley wave characteristics behind it. It has actually I'll take that back. It has characteristics behind it, but it's not one I can track from a purist alley wave perspective, unfortunately. Matic would be cool to check out. Yeah, we can take a look at this. We can take a look at Matic real quick. Let me just take a look at a higher time frame perspective, get my bearings on we were looking at first. So what is this? So 1 WX ABC Y. Okay, this looks clean too. 1 2 1 2. Almost same cases we have on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Where either it's A or B, or this is a 1 or 2. On Matic, it definitely looks cleaner as a A to B. A B C in a diagonal for W. ABCX, ABCY, 1, 2. Okay, let's take a look at let's go to the hourly real quick. I think I might have to move this over. What's that I have right there? What's that local folder? What's there? Okay, yeah, let's work with that real quick. I think we were using this last time we looked at it. I'm gonna have to upgrade this. I don't think it's a 1 2 1 2. I think we're just in a large 1. I mean, a large 2 actually. So actually, I'm gonna have to degrade it, not upgrade it. Sorry guys, let me just do this real quick. It kind of makes it easier for me to understand what I'm looking at too. See, that's an A. Oh, I see. That's why I had it because it's a 1 2 1 2. But I don't think I can do it anymore like that because it just looks it's too long. This might just be another A B C W X A B C Y. Yep, that's it. It's just this this 2 is just too long in comparison to this 2. It just doesn't make sense. So we'll get rid of this. Get rid of that. Gotta get rid of this. Gotta get rid of that. So W X Y. So same argument with Bitcoin and Ethereum. WXY or ABC? Just kind of depends on this one. Before making an argument, I kind of have to finish fleshing this out right here. So WXY, I'm not going to worry about the sub count for this X because I already pretty much know it. Let's just upgrade this real quick. B, C, D, E. Yeah, it looks like a triangle right there. Actually, no, this is a micro. I need to make this a micro. see. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. This fifth wave here doesn't look very clean, which concerns me because usually when I talk about, I usually want to at least have the move finish cleanly, and that has done me well in the past. And expecting another higher higher, another lower low, and this doesn't look like an impulse up. It kind of just looks like a three-wave move right here. It's not really what we're looking for. So this might be like this, or this is a W, X, Y. We do have the divergence to play off of though, if we want to say that was the 3 and this was the 5. We obviously know this is the 3. It's just a matter of, was this the 4 or is this the 4? This is the only issue now we have to deal with. And also, I can't really get this to end or start impulsively. It's almost the same arguments we have with the move up. This is what we have, and this is what we want. Same thing. This is what we have up. This is what we want. This is what we have down. This is what we want. Given that, when we have these clues, it almost leads me to believe that this is right here because this is pretty corrective. This looks pretty corrective, and it looks pretty three wavy. That's the best way I can explain it. Three wavy doesn't look an impulse up and an impulse down, and it kind of just solidifies what I was saying earlier. So when you're kind of just stuck in a range, within a range, like once again, we're not making lower lows or higher lows. We've kind of just been stuck in this range. It's best just to play off of three waves, literally. So if taking even this right here, it's yeah, actually I don't think I can argue for that one. But what I was trying to say earlier is that once we're like at the very tippy top or the very bottom, you're gonna expect that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But since we're stuck within a range, within a larger range, you want to play the three-wave moves. So you'd want to play this as a three-wave move, and that would have done you well if you did play as a three-wave move. As long as you're being conservative and taking money away from the market instead of giving away the market, I mean, I don't think anybody can complain with that. I do want to see a push up from this though. Maybe Matic will be one of the ones that push up while Bitcoin and Ethereum slowly move down. Because we do have a few coins that always go against the herd per se. Otherwise, we'd have to force this as a fifth wave. And I don't really like that. I don't really like forcing fifth waves. So ultimately, let's see, if we take this in full consideration, it's a 1, ranging for 2, down for 3, 4. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is likelier here. I think this is what I can see right now. I put it more that we still have one more push up to give, personally, but it's on the basis that we can't get these moves to end. Maybe if I traded Matic a little bit more, I might be aware of its usual typical characteristics and moves. So, like I said, there's an argument that this could be the 4 into the 5th. I think that's all I really have for today. Does anybody have any questions they want me to follow up on? Let's take a look here. Is it the same with forex pairs like Euro USD, bad for elliott-wave? Some of them you can, like GPP stuff like that. Like some of them you can do elliott-wave counts. You know, It's just the thing is when it comes to Elliott wave theory, you want to be monitoring, analyzing, and tracking and trading the asset that follows Elliott wave clearly. Like you want to get the best trades and the most successful trades out of that. When you're looking at assets that really kind of just range a lot, yes, we can apply Elliott wave theory, but it's a lot more tricky. It's more difficult to get those trades. It's almost better just to trade up off of market structure, which typically we normally do, but for forex pairs. But with the crowd the assets where the crowds flock to and they trade predominantly, those are the ones that we really want to apply LA wave theory to because we'll be the most successful in getting those trades and getting money out of the market particularly. So it's not like we can not do it, but we just choose to focus on the assets where we can get the most R to R. I hope that makes sense. I agree with the iterative approach. Release an MVP version. Sorry if I missed. Do we have a printer friendly version of the previous cheat sheet? Yeah, we do actually. Here, let me and I think we fixed all the typos in the first one too. So I'll post the printer friendly version and the computer version, the black version in other wave discussion after we end the stream here. I'll go ahead and post those. And then yeah, we'll do the same thing I did with these cheat sheets. I'll just release a basic one for the time, and then I'll worry about the professionalism afterwards. So I'll do that. I'll go ahead and post those after we end the stream. But I definitely appreciate you guys showing up. And like I said, if anyone ever has any questions anytime, I'm always willing to answer any questions. So feel free to just ping me. But I hope you guys have a good day. Thanks for hanging out with me. Catch you guys later.